first thing I want to talk about in this bad section is obviously there are 20 teams sitting at home who are disappointed that they did not make the playoffs. Now, the only team that I have any kind of compassion for probably would be the Tennessee Titans. The Titans was the only team that had, if they won, they got into the postseason if a bunch of things fell their way. And they were the only team last Sunday who actually won. Denver lost, the Jets lost, Cincinnati lost, and so I thought Tennessee would get in if the Raiders lost. I thought Tennessee would be able to get in just on the fact that they had, a 9-7 record, and a lot of things needed to happen for them to get in, and almost everything did. Tennessee will blame himself because of the whole Chris Johnson saga to start the season. Matt Hasselbeck, they had a bad stretch during the season, and I believe, if memory doesn't serve correct, I believe the Colts beat Tennessee for their first win. I could be wrong on that, but I'm trying to think. Did the Colts' first win this year was against Tennessee? So they'll be kicking themselves about that loss, and really nothing else you can say about it. The Cowboys, the Chargers, well, and the Jets. Those three teams probably are the three most disappointing teams in football. The Cowboys have more talent than anybody can remember. They have good running backs. They have great receivers, tight end. Unfortunately, their offensive line has been their problem. I know Romo has been taking a lot of blame for a lot of their, misgivings, but it's not Romo's fault when he can't protect himself. And they had him out there this year in games when he had broken ribs and punctured lungs and busted up hands. And, the man deserves this year to be credited more than he deserves to be criticized because he took a lot of risks this year for this team. And unfortunately for him, it wasn't worth it. San Diego, I am stunned that they did not fire Norv Turner or the GM, Mr. Smith, because of the fact that San Diego has had the most talent of any AFC team, and they still cannot figure out a way to put it all together to get to a Super Bowl. Every year, I've picked San Diego to go to Super Bowl the last 6 years, and every year, they haven't gone. Phillip Rivers, I'm sure a lot of Giant fans are probably sitting back saying, hey, thank God Phillip Rivers got traded to San Diego and we got Eli and they got Phillip Rivers, because at least Eli's got us into the postseason and at least Eli's got us a ring. Phillip Rivers has not done a darn thing, and the interception problem that has plagued him his career this season really reared its ugly head. And unfortunately for the Chargers, things are not going to get any better. They are a team that, they seem to have the mentality that I kind of have, which is, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. The Chargers don't believe it's broken. If the Chargers just believe that if someone, gave them the right opportunity or gave them the right chance, that maybe it'll work out. And in the Chargers' case, it's health. The Chargers go into every season with all this talent, but every season they're always hurt. Now, if they can get a full season with Antonio Gates being healthy, a full season with Vincent Jackson being healthy, we'll find out. Full season with the running backs being healthy, But in football, you have to expect injuries, just like you expect things in life not always to work out the way you want it to work out. And, of course, excuse me, the other team that, is the most shocking has to be the New York Jets. The New York Jets are becoming the Miami Heat of the NFL. A lot of people thought it was the Eagles, but it's actually the Jets. The Jets are being criticized so much by each other that you don't even need to, who needs media? All you need to do is just put a microphone in front of a Jet player, and the Jet player will tell you what's up. Now, Mr. McElroy is under a lot of scrutiny right now because as the fourth string quarterback, he made some comments about his teammates that have offended and upset a lot of people, and a lot of media people are criticizing him for talking because he's just a clipboard holder. He shouldn't say anything. I completely disagree with that. I believe that he has every right to say what he wanted to say. He's there. And maybe he is prepping for a broadcasting career, as someone had alluded to. But the fact of the matter remains, the Jets were a mess this year. And the one problem that the Jets had this year is the Jets couldn't get pressure on the quarterback. And so those of you Darrelle Revis fans probably pat yourself on the back and say, that's why Revis is so spectacular, because most good cornerbacks get help by a good defensive line rush. Quarterbacks have to throw the ball sometimes when they're not ready. The Jets couldn't pressure the quarterback no matter how many people they blitzed at quarterback. And that's why they're sitting at home. And to me, the funny thing is that here you have a team that just the last 2 years has been in the AFC Championship game. So they should be able to sort of have a year in which it didn't work. But no one's letting that happen. Everyone's jumping all over them. Everyone is punishing them. Rex Ryan's too brash. Bart Scott's too brash. Mark Sanchez doesn't have enough talent. Today, LaDainian Tomlinson's possibly thinking about retiring. I mean, the team is a mess. And the team needs an off-season, a full off-season, to resolve its issues. Because next year, it's just kind of sick to say, next year, there could be some people being fired. Think about that for a second. 2 years in the AFC Championship game with a rookie quarterback, second-year quarterback, his first 2 years, rookie running back, new scheme, new coach, whatever, you should be excited. You need to win. And if you don't win, you're gone. That's crazy. Rex Ryan, if they don't win next year, he might be out of a job. The other team, the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles finally started figuring out. They won their last 4 games of the year, so I'm sure next year the pundits around the world will put the Eagles probably in the postseason, probably as a Super Bowl favorite, maybe in the top 3 or 4 picks of that. But they seem to have figured it out towards the end of the season. Some people are saying it's because of an easier schedule. Hey, a win is a win is a win. But the Eagles next year have no excuses. Andy Reid's getting another year. So it's either put up or shut up. And the Raiders. The Raiders had the right chemistry to win this year. Good defense, good running game, veteran quarterback. Problem is, Carson Palmer, he might have colorblind issues or color issues in his eyes, meaning that he throws the ball too much to the other team. Throwing interceptions is what gets quarterbacks out of this league quickly. And maybe that's why the Bengals weren't in no hurry to bring him back, because he threw a boatload of interceptions in, 9 games? He threw double-digit interceptions this year, and he didn't even play a full season. So the lockout hurt the Colts. We all know that. With Peyton Manning out, being not able to be around his team and his team facilities to get, help with his neck. And now the Colts have the $10 million trillion zillion dollar question of who they're going to draft. Are they going to draft Robert Griffin III, or are they going to draft Andrew Luck? I've already given you my opinion. I think they should take Justin Blackmon. But next year, this is going to cost the Patriots $28 million if they re-sign Peyton Manning. So they got to make that choice. Do they want to pay $28 million to him in February? Or do they not? He has to obviously show in the next 2 months that he's physically ready to play. That's a lot to ask for a guy with a neck injury on his 3rd surgery. But he's shown this year. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if he got MVP votes, because of the simple facts that they only won 2 games without him. So, a lot of good things happened in the NFL this year. There are some teams definitely licking their wounds who had opportunities. The Chicago Bears obviously got injury problems, and that's why they didn't make it to the postseason. Forte and Jay Cutler are having great seasons. And now Mike Martz has been fired or quit, and the general manager has resigned. I mean, NFL is no joke anymore. Teams are not going to sit around and wait for you to get better. You got to get better immediately, or you're just going to be on the outside looking in. I was stunned that Raheem Morris was fired from Tampa Bay. I mean, the guy last season took that team to a 10-win season. This year they had some setbacks. They didn't have the same type of intensity, and so therefore it cost him his job. I was absolutely shocked that they fired him because they're a young team. They're a team that was growing together. To me, it doesn't make sense to get rid of a guy after a couple of years. After one good year, you're going to get rid of him the next year because it wasn't as good. Football's a rough business, and that's what that's what's so puzzling about Norv being let stay in San Diego, and the same thing with Andy Reid in Philadelphia. It shows if you have loyalty to some of these people, maybe they do show you some things. I mean, if Tom Coughlin didn't make it with the playoffs with the Giants, who knows what would have happened to him? I mean, Mike Shanahan should be fired in Washington. Mike Shanahan hasn't done anything in Washington. Yeah, they're paying him $35 million over 5 years, but he hasn't done anything in Washington to warrant him keeping a job. Leslie Frazier in Minnesota, he's had a tough couple of years with the Vikings. He's had a lot of turnover, a lot of turmoil, but he still has a job. So, the ugly side of the NFL is rearing its face in this new year. And as the postseason progresses, I'm certain we're going to see more and more news about other things. And we'll be back to talk some more bad. There's some very bad stuff going on at Penn State University right now. And we'll be back to talk about Penn State University after this.
How'd you like to get up to $12,000? Who wouldn't? It's the Army's enlistment bonus program.